Hey guys, and welcome, and yes, the rumours are true, you can indeed get a 20 stack of elves with a dragon in the mist. I shall be playing under the guise of Melon Lord, leading the forces of the High Elves up against Permaban and the Vampire Coast Hordes here on Blue Reach River. Should be a really good fun game, and as you can imagine, we have gone incredibly cheap and incredibly cheerful throughout the entirety of our build to fill in so many pointy ears in this formation. On the left-hand side, we do have the cheapest, least ferocious, and weakest of all the dragons under the sun. It is indeed the Sun Dragon, but it can glitch through trees, and that has to count for something. Sun Dragons, in general, relatively cheap for a dragon, of course, and can still punch relatively hard. They are the ultimate glass cannon, coming with those beautiful breath attacks. In the front line, we have a nice shield wall of spearmen. These guys are going to be taken to the forefront of the formation, trying to hold the enemy back, delay them where possible, to really allow our archers to bring the pain, as they're going to be one of the most hardened hitting units in our entire build. We do have 5 rangers as well, dotted throughout the formation, looking to carve up anyone who does manage to break through. And overall, rangers very good at carving their way through the undead beasties and horrors we shall be facing today. 5 units of archers, as I said before, are our damage dealers in the central portion of our build, and they will be led by an archmage of high magic. Not only does she mean we can go even cheaper because she is both our spellcaster and our lord at the same time, she's got some pretty cool spells all round. Coming in with Book of Hoeth, Arcane Conduit, Tempest to try and pin in Luther Harkin, where we can then snipe him out of the air, Hand of Glory as well as Apotheosis, and a really badass aesthetic as well. I love the little stars on her costume. So nice little force over on the left-hand side as well. In Deep Vanguard, we have some Illyrian Reavers and 2 over on the right-hand side. As for my opponent, he's got a couple of doggos in the back line looking to harass us, but his main build is pretty bad to the bones. Standard zombie pirate deck mobs dotted all the way through the front line, but leading that battle line is the Gallows Giant, the flame-wielding maniac beast itself. A regiment of renowned Necrofex Colossus, going to do a ton of burst damage to my force if it isn't focused down early on by some of those archers. With a Vampire Fleet Captain of Vampires coming with Dance Macabre, Invocation Heck, and Raise Dead, and whenever you see one of these bad ladies on the field, you know it's because Luther Harkin has taken to the sky, leading the army and cackling all the same. It's a nice little air core. We do have 4 units of Deck Droppers Bombers. These guys are devastating up against the tightly packed formations of the High Elves throughout. We also have 2 units of Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob with hand cannons in the back line. Don't get to see these guys terribly often. You do see the Regiment Renowned version now and again, but they are anti-large. Certainly going to do okay up against my cavalry and other such units. We have a Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob with handgun, supported by Gunnery White in the back line. Should be a really good fun game. If we have a nice little overview of the entire map, you can see what we're trying to do is lure my enemy, pull and drag them into this pass, where hopefully we can hold the line, wedged between this forest on our left-hand flank, as well as this little pond on the right, where our archers can then just rain down fire. And once we've sucked in the main force, our Illyrian Reavers can hit them from the flanks and the rear, but my opponent trying a similar tactic as well with his Scurvy Dogs in the back line, who I have not yet noticed. But the war horns are sounded in the deep, and we do ride to war. Or march, we couldn't really afford horses, so we are going to be marching towards our enemy. Illyrian Reaver's been a little bit sneaky as well, going to start pushing around the flanks where possible, and the Sun Dragon trying its best to be a forest dragon and blend in. Obviously, it can't actually hide in here, but it's eager, its flanks are secured, it's fresh, and it's happy to go. I've just realised there is cages of dead people in this forest. I don't know where this realm is, but I certainly do not want to visit here anytime soon. The Gallows Giant is going to be slumberously bobbling its way forward, just waddling on those big sticks, starting to get a little bit aggressive, perhaps not too wide by my archer threat due to the healing it can possess, and the fact archers don't have the most insane damage output. But we have a lot of them, and we're certainly going for quantity over quality this time. Scurvy Dogs have now sneakily managed to push into this forest. I did not see them dart from one forest to the next, so I'm going to be able to get into my back line if I'm not too careful. We do have a load of rangers helping to guard the rear so far, and the battle is underway as the Gallows Giant gets really aggressive, pushing forward, lining up that flamethrower, and started to bring death and destruction to my archers. Archers luckily only getting singed on the flank, and we're going to be able to rain in a bucket ton of fire. Gallows Giant, realising its mistake, is down to nearly half health, but does get a rather well-timed Invocation Heck popped on him to try and heal him up where possible. Big mistake pushing him in before he'd be able to break one of the units of archers very quickly, but alas, he's unfortunately lost a little bit of health on the Vampire Captain for overcasting that spell and miscasting, and the Gallows Giant itself has taken a ton of damage. However, in the back line, Scurvy Dogs have darted in and out. We do notice this, and our Sun Dragon is swooping back roaring a challenge to the smaller beasties. Rangers preparing themselves for combat as well. But at this point, I'm a little bit more worried about my front line. We do have a summon coming down and the deckhand mobs as the slow advance does continue behind the Gallows Giant, who is once again starting to push into the front line and taking a considerable amount of firepower at the moment after not contributing too much just yet. But that is buying time for Luther Harkin to now fly over, and he's going to start whittling down the archers as he goes. Gallows Giant getting very close to destruction, however. Alien Reavers do start to burst into the back line, looking to hunt down the hand cannons where possible. Ones on the right hand side being a little bit more conservative and holding back. Gallows Giant is crumbling, but should just be able to get out of bowfire range. And now I really want to start focusing down at Luther Harkin. We see the perfect opportunity. As the deck droppers drive by, we drop a Tempest on Luther Harkin, allowing us to catch all 3 units. And we send in the mighty Sun Dragon. Coming with a big breath attack, coming straight forward into the line, roasting bats. However, my opponent has managed to sneak into the back line. I was distracted by our big dragon. His summon has gone down on deckhand mobs, and scurvy dogs latch onto those archers from the rear and start ripping out throats. Archers are being destroyed right now. Both units down to about half health. Our Rangers just vibing, sitting there. But I do finally react. Rangers pushing forward to help carve these guys up. A second unit desperately trying to hunt down the scurvy dogs. But because our Reavers are being used so aggressively, they are miles out of position to help protect it. Sun Dragon does go for the kill, trying his best to hunt down Luther Harkin, fueled on by the fire of the Gallows Giant. We pop an Apotheosis to try and keep us alive and happy. Unfortunately, the handgunners just obliterate us in a deadly display of accuracy, as our Alien Reavers were taking a little bit of time to shut them down. You can see we've now hopped onto 1. Good count played by my opponent, though, getting his pole arms to protect his handgunners on this flank. A bad engagement for me for sure. And the Gallows Giant has managed to stabilise him. He's going to be really key here if you can keep him alive. He's going to be amazing at carving up my infantry focus build. Sun Dragon does shatter and is forced off despite still having over 800 health. Luckily for me, the deck droppers were kept close together. A bit of a mistake by my opponent after the first Tempest he had seen. And we are going to be able to drop both the other units at this point. Luther Harkin now alone up in the skies on the air game. Scurvy Dogs once again do drive into the back line, doing a good bit of micro on my opponent, hunting down the archers, evading the spearmen and rangers where possible, although these guys are crumbling and we are slowly starting to carve them up. Luther Harkin is taking considerable pressure now from archers on the rears and flank. Gallows Giant up to 40 kills is now going to get harassed by rangers. I don't really have too much perfect units to shut down the Gallows Giant, so our anti-infantry troops are going to have to get out those swords and do a bit of David versus Goliath. And as we can see, the fiery fury of the Gallows Giant is not to be messed with as he lines up and roasts a ton of rangers there. Alien Reavers are slamming into the back of the deckhand mobs, doing some nice damage and helping support our spearmen, trying to break through that front line so we can push into this juicier back line of the vampires where possible. Just some Alien Reavers who retreated back to the tree line, looking for a better opportunity to push in. Scurvy Dogs are such a pain to really get to grips with. They're so slippery, bouncing left, right and centre. The Archmage High Magic's actually going to get in there and start showing them what's what. You see at the moment she's just kind of barking back at them and they're falling before her might. Luther Harkin is now again massively swarmed. Spearmen and Rangers desperately trying to pin him in as archers from both flanks do a lovely bit of crossfire. Luther Harkin down to nearly 1,000 health at this point, minus 150 leadership. Certainly isn't too good. The Gallows Giant collapses as the back line was eventually shut down. The Alien Reavers surrounding the remainder of the leadership and trying to take some prisoners. But as we know, vampires don't go quietly, instead deciding to go back to the realms of the dead from whence they came. A close victory, really fun game. Massive shout out to my opponent there, Permaban. He did say he wasn't a usual Vampire Coast player, so he was certainly just trying them out and bringing some new fun stuff to the table and experimenting a little bit. This was a quick battle, of course, and nothing too competitive. And I thought, you know what, if he's going to be trying that, we'll try a 20 stack ourselves and try to sneak in a dragon. And lo and behold, we actually managed to pull it off. It is very hard to make a 20 stack of High Elves because they are very expensive. But if you bring the cheapest of the cheapest, the bottom of the barrel, you can just about do it. Very well played, Permaban. Super fun game. Hope you guys enjoyed. We will go through the damage value stats in just a second. But if you enjoyed, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps support the channel and push it out to more people. You can also subscribe as well if you haven't already to the channel. We drop videos every single day, as well as a stream once or twice a week. We're also going to be streaming tonight. That is God, what is the date today? Thursday. There we go. Thursday at 5:30 p.m. BST. So once this video goes up, probably in about an hour or so from it, you'll be able to see the link on our channel. And don't worry, that stream will be uploaded to the channel in full. It is Warhammer World Championships, and we're going to be the first channel to be streaming the knockout stages. We have a couple of best of fives lined up. It's going to be crazy stuff, trust me. We've got some really amazing players in there. But anyway, let's have a nice little look. Oh, and before I forget as well, if you do want to send replays to the channel, get involved in such events, feel free to join my Discord. There's a link down below. Anyway, on to the glorious stuff. So the Mighty Sun Dragon, we kind of maybe yeeted it into the enemy and got it killed way earlier than it should have been. But at the same time, it's a young dragon, really aggressive. So I went for the thematic reasons. That's what we're gonna go by. It was a storytelling decision to move forward. But I did generally think that it might be able to finish off Luther Harkin. But man, those hand cannons really punished it. Only 6 kills, 622 damage value, not crazy terrible. Really fun breath attack as well. As for the Reavers, very good work by them, getting in and harassing the back line. Slightly too late coming in from the right-hand side because of the distance between them. They really want to try to keep the element of surprise where possible. Nearly 700 damage value on this one, 178 not quite so good, but the other one at 700, good solid work. The MVPs, without a shadow of the doubt, was our Archer Core, though. 1.3k damage value on such a cheap unit is insane, and you can see they basically got no kills, but that's because they hunted down the Gallows Giant, Luther Harkin, and other key threats. So 1.3k here, 1.2k on this one, 600, and then only one unit not paying for itself. Rangers across the board, just doing some decent damage and carving up the opposition where possible. Likewise, the Spear Wall held valiantly. And the Mighty Archmage coming in with Tempest, which is such a powerful ability all round. 1,577 damage value, 8,304 damage dealt. Glorious stuff from her. Certainly could have done it without her. And again, she's a very cheap unit to bring if you do want to go wide and a 20 stack. As for permaban, I do like the idea of the Bombers. It is very risky coming up against a faction which will often bring Tempest in this matchup, just to try and counter Luther Harkin and the like. And as you can see, these guys really did not manage to pay for themselves at all, but that was mainly just due down to the kind of unfortunate aspect that I had indeed brought Tempest. Gallows Giant did take a huge, ridiculous amount of damage early on, but still managed to get some pretty decent, solid value all round. 755, of course not paying for itself, but 62 kills, roasting some of those pointy-head princesses alive. Bell Scary Dogs did a nice work as well. Not the crazy damage value, because of course they're only hunting down archers, but feasting on them, harassing them, dragging resources away from the front line, and having to pull them back to defend. The hand cannons, this unit did absolutely nothing, only 28 damage value, the other 498, so it looks like the zombie pirate gunning mob handgunners doing really kind of the heavy lifting up against the Sun Dragon. 1,176 damage value. Good work by them. And of course the undead front line's just there to die really and be a bit of a meat shield. Vampire Fleet Captain was there for the heals, but still managed to get 2,000 damage dealt. Only a meager 200 damage value, however. Likewise, the Gunner in White really struggled, as well did Luther Harkin, who still got 88 kills, 798 damage value, but he is relatively pricey. So obviously you need him to do a little bit better. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.